Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for 6 things that we learned from Chelsea 1, Aston Villa 1 and a 4-3 penalty shootout win for the boys in blue, setting up a Carabao Cup 4th round tie at home to Southampton. Again, Premier League opposition, but a tie that we should be winning, progressing into the quarterfinals. We're not going to jump too far ahead, but as always here with 6 things we learned, it's the most popular series on the channel. If you're not yet subscribed to the George Benson football channel, I'd love to ask you to do so. And if we can go for 5,000 likes for this win, then I will be a very happy man. Before we get into talking about the game though, it is Thursday, which means it is the final day that you guys have the opportunity to be signed up for Ultimate Fan. The link is in the description for you guys to download it. You get your packs this week. I got some pretty decent players, but unfortunately, I got Kyle Walker in defence, who is a Manchester City player, and they face Chelsea this weekend, but I've put him in the team anyway. And I'm getting a lot of forwards in my packs at the moment. I've signed up for the gold subscription, so I do get extra packs every single week as opposed to simply the base pack. My team is looking decent. I got Mo Salah in there, captained him as well this week. So let's see how we get on with the £8,500 that is there to be won once again this week. If you guys aren't yet signed up for Ultimate Fan, I will leave a link in the description. They are my sponsors here on GBFC for the whole season. The game's a lot of fun. Pack opening meets fantasy football. But without any further ado, let's talk about that victory last night. Well, it was a draw with the lottery penalty shootout win on the top of everything else. Now, the game itself, in terms of splitting it into the game of 2 halves, which a game of football is, the first half was absolutely whack. I woke up at 2:30 in the morning to watch that after 2 hours sleep, and I'm sitting there with my flipping cat on the sofa thinking, why didn't I just stay in bed? I never stay in bed. I watch the game whether I've got sleep to have or no sleep to be had whatsoever. It's Chelsea, it's football, it's my life, it's what I do. And in the second half, once again, as we tend to do under Thomas Tuchel, if the first half isn't really going to plan, Chelsea look like a completely different side when they come out for the second half. And I think, again, we might have seen a bit of a change of shape last night. I think for many parts of that first half, it looked as though we were playing with a 4-3-3, with Callum Hudson-Odoi being a bit more advanced, and then as that half wore on, it kind of went back to the 3 at the back, and then we kind of struggled to penetrate and create any chances, which, with Timo Werner up front, I think he was making decent movements, but not really controlling the ball too well when it was at his feet. Same with Callum Hudson-Odoi. I think there were many moments in that first half where he frustrated me, didn't try to take players on enough, and then at the beginning of the second half, he did exactly what I tweeted about. I asked him to start taking players on a bit more, take a few more risks, and try and get Chelsea into better shooting positions. And then in the second half, we managed to create more openings. Hakim Ziyech as well. First half, I think he was poor, didn't really do enough. The work rate wasn't there, giving the ball away sloppily. Is that even a word? I don't know if it is, but it sounded great. And then it got much more entertaining in the second half, and then I ended up going to sleep after the game, and now I'm sat here filming in the car whilst I drive my girlfriend around shopping for fabrics because she's making a clothing brand. I'm making a clothing brand. There's some news to drop for you all. So yeah, we're doing all the fabrics and all of that stuff today. So I'm in the car. But without any further ado, we are going to begin the 6 things we learned video with box number 1 for the penalty winner. And that was Reece James scoring the final penalty to make it 4-3. The penalty itself, to talk about that for a moment, Jed Steer, who had a very good game in goal for Aston Villa, he got very close to it. And Reece James has absolutely pummeled this one into the top corner emphatically to win Chelsea the tie on penalties. I actually quite like Chelsea in penalty shootouts now. It was always a massive concern of mine when it got to pens. But now, I feel as though we have so many players in this squad, Reece James being one of them. You can see in his eyes when he's lining up to take the penalty. I actually did a live on Instagram. If you don't follow me there, it's at Mr. George Benson. I went live and I was calling all of the penalties as they went in. I don't think I had any delay on my stream, and I think you guys were kind of watching with me, as in the UK it wasn't shown live. He is staring that ball down, and there is nothing in his mind other than this ball is going to break that net and send Chelsea into the next round. Other than the penalty, I thought Reece was fantastic defensively. He showed his strength up against the Aston Villa attackers. I want to give a shout out to Archer, the Aston Villa goal scorer, who I think looks like a really decent player. Reece James dealt with all of Aston Villa's creativity. I think El Ghazi is a very underrated Premier League player. Buendia is very decent as well. and Reece just never looked fazed by anything. There were moments where Aston Villa were breaking away. Many times Reece James, the Aston Villa attacker, would have his back into Reece James and he just nods it out nonchalantly with absolutely no stress whatsoever. I thought it was a very composed performance from Reece again, showing once more that he's a brilliant option for Chelsea, be it as a right centre-back as we saw him last night, or in the usual right wing-back position. We move into box number 2, and I'm delighted to give a green box to one of my favourite Chelsea players, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I think in this game, we saw the elements of Ruben's game that made us so excited as Chelsea fans just a few seasons ago before that horrific injury in America. Ruben getting the ball at his feet, not being afraid to drive past players, using that brute force and strength that he has with his physique to burn through the Aston Villa midfield. There were moments in that game yesterday where I felt delighted for Ruben, and I think with Saul's performance as well, I think what Ruben did last night against strong Premier League side is actually cement his place as Chelsea's 4th choice central midfielder this season. I hope he gets given more opportunities, especially off the bench in the Premier League if Chelsea are doing well, and I think that that was again a performance that shows that there is still that top quality player in Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and we are lucky to still have him at Chelsea. He's always been one of my favourites ever since I filmed with him at West Ham's ground a few seasons ago for one of the FIFA launches. Very, very nice guy, very down to earth, very humble, and at the time he was a lot younger, and you can see that he's matured into a very positive character despite the trials and tribulations he's had to go through in his career to get back to the highest level. And of course, he's been at Chelsea for so long. He really wants this opportunity, and I think he could not have done much more really last night to give Thomas Tuchel that idea that he really is up there as one of those midfielders we can call upon with injuries and with fixture congestion as we will have this season. Moving into a yellow box, I would have given it a red, but then I thought he got better in the second half. Saul Niguez, again, just totally looks off the pace. I feel a bit sorry for him, to be honest, because at Atletico Madrid a few seasons ago, we know he was one of the best midfielders in the world at the time. He was playing some sublime football. And at the moment at Chelsea, and what we saw at Atletico Madrid before this loan move took hold, he doesn't look anything like the player he used to do. He's totally void of confidence, and I know me sitting here on a 6 Things We Learned video isn't going to benefit that in any way, but I doubt he's ever going to watch this because he's still learning the English language. But maybe you could watch it, learn a bit of English as a result of that. But I think Saul was the weak link in the midfield. I thought Ruben was good. I thought Kante didn't have his best game, but then he's allowed an off day once in a while. We can let N'Golo off of that. Saul Niguez, I'm worried, and I think after Ruben's performance, it drops him down in Thomas Tuchel's estimations within that midfield pecking order again. Moving into another yellow box, and this one's for Hakim Ziyech. I thought that when Ziyech came out for the start of the second half, he was a bit better, but I think overall, I'm expecting so much more from Hakim Ziyech. He gives the ball away. We don't see those wonderful crosses. We don't see those magnificent through balls that we know he's capable of on any consistent enough basis. Really, really starting to worry me in terms of whether we're ever going to see that consistently brilliant form that he showed for Ajax to even make Chelsea make the move in the first place. I think he struggled last night. I was actually thinking he'd start the game against City, but after that performance, I'd be a little bit concerned. But I want to move into box number 5, and even though I don't think it was his best display in a Chelsea shirt, for sure, Timo Werner gets a green box. He scored the goal, and I think he just needed that goal this season for his confidence, you know. Romelu Lukaku's come in. We know that he is absolutely up there as one of the best strikers in the world. Timo Werner was given the chance to lead the line. As much as I don't think he created enough or did enough to really suggest that he's putting any pressure on Lukaku if we're playing with one striker, he scored the goal. It was a header. It wasn't the best header. Again, I'm just picking on this because it's true. Wasn't the best header, but he scored a goal, and that's all we can ask for. And I think the confidence that he'll get from that could well be massive. And I think after Ziyech didn't perform, I think putting Timo Werner up front with Lukaku is 100% what Thomas Tuchel should do in this game at home to Manchester City at the weekend. Give City's defence nightmares for having to think about how they're going to cope with all of Chelsea's different attacking threats. The final box is box number 6, of course. I'm finally actually getting box number 6 out in this video, and I'm giving box number 6 as a green to Kepa Arrizabalaga. Comes into the team, absolutely nothing he could have done about Aston Villa's goal. It was a wonderful header, as I said earlier, from Archer, and the save in the penalty shootout. Yes, one of the penalties hit the bar, but the save from Kepa was absolutely fantastic. It's a penalty that is hit very, very hard towards the bottom corner. He gets his arm up, and once again, Kepa is a hero in a Chelsea penalty shootout in knockout football. And I say this over and over again when I'm talking about Kepa, talking about his relationship with Mendy. Chelsea are very lucky to have two goalkeepers at the highest level. When Mendy's injured, Kepa is a more than good enough second choice. I was delighted for Kepa again, made some great saves in the 90 minutes as well, and Chelsea progress into the 4th round of the Carabao Cup. Gonna wrap this one up here. Don't want to take up any more of your time. Thank you so much for watching. As I said earlier, if you're not yet signed up to Ultimate Fan, go and join now, because you'll get your packs ready to make your team for this Premier League game week with a chance to win £8,500. Big money to be won. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. Chelsea are through. We're still unbeaten this season. Thomas Tuchel's Champions of Europe. Steam on. Come on, you Blues.